So these five categories in life that you need to take care in order to be prosperous, and the
Okay, very
order
interesting.
matters. So, and I see that, and having the privilege to speak to CEOs from Silicon Valley all the way to Tokyo in Japan. We completed projects in more than 50 countries. Some of them running a multi-billion businesses. Um, I haven't seen many that have it all, but they're all smart at some point. There's certain traits that you can find, and you could really do exceptionally well in life if you have those five areas covered. And that's a lot of work.
Good morning, Momentum community. It's another podcast. Great to be with you here. Thank you for the support that you guys are bringing to us, demonstrating in the different platforms where we meet. I want to say a big hello for my team, also the people who are behind, the screen here, and you don't see it, but they are doing a great job also. Today, I got here with me Marian, a man full of energy and passion. I met a few weeks ago. He's a co-founder and CEO of Dynamis Group. And I'm so excited about this interview because when I met Marian a few weeks ago, he infused me with a lot of energy. And I said, I must bring this guy on a program. Good morning to you, Marian.
Good morning and happy Monday, everybody. What a great week today. It's just, I always say every day is a great one when you have it. So thank you for having me today. And what a great way to start a week.
Yes, no, fantastic. It's great to have you on a Monday. And certainly, speaking to your friend early on, Theo, and it was great also. There's a lot that you guys are involved, but I want to start today specifically pulling out a little bit of, who are you? Who is Marian? Is Temelkov the surname, correct?
Well pronounced, yeah.
Yeah, so where you come from and a little bit about you for our audience.
Thank you, Annie, for asking. And in a few words, I was blessed and privileged to be born in a beautiful part of beneath the Pyrenean Mountains of the Macedonian part of Bulgaria, which is a beautiful, really area surrounded by natural springs, mountains, and an hour away from a blue zone in Greece. And grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. Well, my dad, especially my mom, she taught me a lot and with the Christian values, and really helped me to raise me in a way that really inspired more compassion and care, and that's just where I was born, and that's how my journey began.
Yeah, that's great. So but it's a long way from Bulgaria to the UK. Can you tell us a little bit, how did you come to the UK?
Of course, yeah, absolutely. I was a teenager, and at age of 14, I was already thinking of, like most teenagers, to be honest, they're thinking, what is my purpose in life? Why am I here for? What I want to do? There's so many questions going in your head. And of course, while I was born in a beautiful part of the world, I wanted to explore the rest of the world and say, hey, what's out there? What's really my vision and my purpose? And I started to imagine what would be life living abroad, or really exploring. And I pretty much through self-starter and through a few discussions, I started to imagining, and I thought, where should I go? And through the process, I selected UK. The process was, I need to be an English-speaking country.
Okay.
And Australia and US was too far, so I thought I wanted to be at least a few hours of, flight to family, because you had a very strong connection with the family. So I said 3 or 4 hours maximum, and UK was the obvious choice. So yeah, I arrived here at the age of 16. I was so eager to arrive here, Andy, that I didn't finish high school.
Really?
I had 1 year left, and I left in the final year, and everybody's asking, why didn't you finish high school? Well, I said they accepted me to university here without high school diploma, so I went. So I didn't have to wait that long.
Wow.
And, but arrived here in Manchester at the age of 16. They lost my luggage upon arrival, which was a shocker. And I only had an address in my hand, and I took a black cab. The guy didn't say a word to me, so I thought, I don't know whether I spoke properly or not, but I arrived here at university, and it was tough. It was quite really an experience, but I had a vision, and was first thing I needed to do is get an accommodation. And I mentioned this to you, but I managed to get the accommodation just before it closed. And then the first thing I want to do is cook myself a dinner. And I mentioned this story to you before, but when I went there, I said I'm gonna go to buy myself a dinner, but also a set of plates, set of really cutleries. I want to establish myself and invite friends. So I started imagining on the first day of arrival what life could look like here. And,
that was the first day, only the first day.
First day, arrival, first day. Basically, I had a wonderful gentleman, John Five is his name, helped me, said, Marian, go and get yourself accommodation first. I was already late because they refused visa, but that's another story. It was quite but I arrived here, and then I went to the shop, and I get all 6 plates, cutleries, and eggs and pan, and I went to pay the bill. That was 1999. And I asked, how much? He said, £100. He said, £100 for 6 plates and a few eggs. And I said, wow, that was quite an extortion. So I said, why is it so expensive? He said, the plates, they're £15 each. I said, wow, I knew UK was expensive, but that expensive, I didn't really. So, I said, oh, well, I'm going to have to scale back on my plans. So I went from 6 plates to 1. So I got one, paid just over £20, and that's how I started. Then one day, you look at all these people looking at me, and my flatmates, so to say, and one guy one day asked me, "Why do you eat in that plate?" You say, "What do you mean? That's my plate?" He said, "No, but that plate is not to eat in it. That's for the wall. That is really the one with the golden dishes. It's like a plaque." and here you go. That's just when you don't know anyone and anything. These are the kind of things you face, But that whole experience, was inspired me, to arrive here by myself and not having a lot. Have to learn fast from the best. That was my strategy. But that inspired me, Andy, to every time I go back to a community I was born, to bring some knowledge, because it didn't have that. No one has done it what I did at that time for a few 100,000 people community there. So, I'll bring a professor with me. I'll bring some story or knowledge, and sooner or later you started to have a lot of families start asking me, inviting me for lunch or dinner, say, can you help my daughter, my son? And I started helping out, and more than 30 of them arrived here, and that's how that's how Leader Academy was born. We started to have a vision, and what can we do even more than just helping young people come over here. We decided to do something for the community as well.
You came with a vision. You had, it's remarkable to see someone at such a young age already with a clear vision of what he or she wanted to do, right? But you came with a clear vision. And right now you are, a successful CEO. Do you think that vision came to pass? Did you realize that vision?
You know what? I'll tell you what made it for me. Of course, everything you hear, it's, as I said, is not my credit. It's a God's blessing and guidance. Without Him, I'm nothing in this world. But that's first, just to mention that for the audience. But that the vision I had is to explore the world. So it wasn't necessarily clear what exactly I'm going to do. But it's like when you drive by night, you can see as far as your headlights go. When you get to the corner, you can see what's next. So when I arrived here, I started to see things, I started experiencing, and then I started to follow my passion, which is, it was so tough for me, but what can I do to help others that can get that information and help them with all the challenges I faced. And that's how, following the passion, you started to see a lot of great traction. When you back to the community, we said, well, what about if we build an international educational business center where we're born, and maybe acquire a building and start, imagining. And that actually came to pass. We did that because people believed. And when we went to the city council and presented the case and said, wow, well, I was only 22 at that time, and my brother George was 27. Together we went, and we had support from here. I also went on an exchange program in France, and had a professor from Nice as well that arrived, and they supported us and said, we will support these guys to do something for the community. But what I wanted to say to the audience is, follow your passion, follow the things that really you love. And look, we didn't have the money only to acquire the building to do the center, but they came. So and what's only also came is 2 years later we acquired another amazing camp in the mountains that was used by the National Tobacco Company for their retreat place, retreat villa. And it was beautiful with all self-sustainable self-sewage, you know, all the water supply, electricity, and that came because of the serving we're doing for young people. And then we get investors from the UK say, Marian, we'll support you, we'll give you the money you need, you know, for a big part to acquire that place. So
that's amazing.
The message is just follow your passion, guys. The things will work out.
Yeah, I think it's a great story, and it just reminds me of a guy who influenced my life quite a bit in my early stages of development, a guy called Tony Robbins. Don't know if you heard about him.
I love Tony Robbins. I've never met him. I'm not, but I love following his program and his teachings. I hope one day he's fantastic.
And he's got a saying. He says, where focus grows, life flows. So you had, during this time, your focus started growing and growing towards one direction, and life found a way to make that happen, you know. And I think that's what most of us need to realize, that it's never a straight line. I'm sure you had several challenges on the way.
Many
challenges on the way, and moments of doubt as anybody else. But if you keep focusing on sharp laser beam focus on something, that's what we keep telling our community. If you do that, and if you build that resilience towards it, and you follow that, for sure you get your destination. Correct?
Absolutely. And so there are a lot of what I and I also follow a lot of leaders and different. And what I've seen in common with a lot of those CEOs and leaders is that they call it the grid, right? So the grid is like, to be able to make it big in something, you need to follow your passion first, but also you need to have resilience. So I advise people to start training a marathon, marathon running, because life is a marathon, guys. It's not just a sprint. So, you know, when I see people that are marathon runners, just because I love the concept, it's just that I really appreciate and honor what they do, because they know how to go for a long time. It's not just to do one thing short. You got to look, because if something doesn't work for 10 years, what happens? Would you give up?
And just let me ask you now the question of, during all this time, can you tell us of any book or books or personalities that have had an impact in your life, have influenced you?
Absolutely. You know, there's some fantastic books apart from the Bible, which is the super book of the books. You know, apart from that, you know, I would say you have several books that really made a profound impact. Two books that I recommend immediately, and they're from Dale Carnegie. And the first one is How to Win Friends and Influence People.
I have here on my shelf.
That book
good
is
one. That's a good one.
Absolutely, that is. The second book, guys, if you're going through a tough time, really a depression, or you really in low moments, it's really, again, by Dale Carnegie, is How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. These are the two books
that's
that
very
I
good.
recommend. But there's many others depending on what stage you are, because it's, you know, the more books you read, the more your let's say blind spots are covered, the more your horizon is there. There's one really nice book I want to mention. It's called The Power of Moments. This is really good. You know, it's fantastic. I'm just trying to think of who was it by, but The Power of Moments is really a fantastic one, because it tells you how important it is to be present.
And also the importance of the presence, isn't it, where you are now. of the
Exactly,
of the
because
small.
by the way, sometimes I'm in a meeting and I may be thinking like, what's the future? Well, you may not have that future. So it's just important to think. You got to imagine and visualize, but also you need to make sure that it's done in the right moments. And I love that.
Absolutely. Let's talk about a little bit of your rituals and the thing about health and fitness, because something that impacted me when I met you is that, I don't know, you bring that fitness and health as a core element of your daily rituals and journey, correct?
Absolutely. Well, when I was obviously going through, my journey, of course, apart from Leader Academy, going through career in Dynamis Group, we help leaders at the highest level. By attracting exceptionally gifted talent that can help them fulfill their vision. We help with leadership due diligence, many other things. But to advise at that level, you need to really not only mentally to be um, value adding or strong. You need to be physically strong. You need to be spiritually strong. You need to be financially strong. You need to be relational. So these five categories in life that you need to take care in order to be prosperous, and the
Okay, very
order
interesting.
matters. So, and I see that, and having the privilege to speak to CEOs from Silicon Valley all the way to Tokyo in Japan. We completed projects in more than 50 countries. Some of them are running a multi-billion businesses. Um, I haven't seen many that have it all, but they're all smart at some point. There's certain traits that you can find, and you could really do exceptionally well in life if you have those five areas covered, and that's a lot of work. So when somebody comes to you and you could advise them, you look at their fruits. How well they prosper in their obviously career is one thing, but what about the family? What about how they look, physically? What about their friends and relationships? So the first category that you need to take care is your spiritual prosperity. Why first? Because most people don't know much about spirituality, depending on which region, of course. And there's a reason why people don't follow, for example, Genghis Khan, the greatest conqueror of the world. It's a historical artifact, Alexander the Great, but there's no following of such, today. Why do people follow Jesus, for example? Find out. There's something in that. There's really the spiritual prosperity is really important to understand those principles, because if you understand that, your life can be like a box of chocolates but with a menu. Because one of the greatest entrepreneurs in China was saying life is like a box of chocolate with you never know what you're going to get. Well, I disagree. It's like a box of chocolates with a menu if you understand those five categories. So spiritual prosperity, number one. Number two, mental prosperity. You gotta basically take care of your brain, and you gotta do number of things. Of course, apart from meditation and giving that joy, and you gotta have a sharp memory. You gotta understand how to manage your reactions to your emotions, how to have the wisdom to see through people, to see what anticipate what could come, to not have any much depression or any of those. And that's not an easy thing to do. To really, as someone said, if you conquer yourself, you can conquer anything in the world. That is a major one to
Right.
work with this. Number three is your physical prosperity. In that physical prosperity, that category alone, there's three major areas. It's your training, your daily activity, your food, because food can be healing or poison, depends how you use it, and sleep. If you get those three right, you physically will, and they impact you in the other way. Of course, number four is your financial prosperity. Money matters, but how you got this money is important. It's not just to
Absolutely.
earn a lot of money, but then you scrutinize a lot of people, and it's not really. So you need to make sure that you solve problems,
Yeah.
really add value to people's life in order to deserve your financial prosperity. So it's not people are not interested in what you want; they're interested in what you give. So focus on the problems and what solutions you provide. And number 5 is your relationships. Whatever money can buy, relationships can pay for it. So relationships are so important. And there, for me, there's like in that category, there are 4 types of people we need in our lives in order to really nail it. Number 1 is our divine connectors. So we need to have those people that connect us to opportunities. They may not solve problems to, but they will connect us. Number 2, people of influence. Who are the top 5 people that are influential? One signature of theirs can take you to a highest level. Number 3 is your exceptionally gifted talent or people around. That's really passionate about that, of course, because of what I do. These are the people that will get the job done. So it's not the cousin, it's not the only a friend. They are people who are really talented and they can be pleasant to work with. You tell them one thing, they do 5. You know, and the number 4 is, I call them the burden bearers. These are the people that will be with you no matter what. So if you get arrested tomorrow, they will stand by you. They'll be the people who they will not give up and they will stay with you until your glory is fully revealed. So if you have those kind of people in your life, you will have that category.
Oh, that is amazing. Well, I'm really blessed, and I knew I will be blessed in the community bringing you today. It's amazing. I think you practice that. I can see that you practice that in your life, and I can see that how you developed. And I know it's not easy to come from another country, start from scratch into a new country. I've done that. Many people who have gone through that knows how hard it is just to start in a new place with a vision and then prosper. You need to have stability. You need to have your mind in the right place. You need to have principles, and you need to have something that you can rely on when everything, when the wind comes against you. And I can see that you have done that. Can you also a podcaster? Can you talk a little bit about your podcast, Leaders Who Care? Why that is important to you?
Well, thank you for the question, Ani. In our experience, when we were helping those executives through the executive search, through attracting exceptionally gifted talent to them, you see many different leadership styles, Andy. And what became really important is, for me, is really very dear of how do you impact people's lives. So if you place a leader in an organization and they really do well and they prosper, their family will feel it, their friends will feel it, their community, so they will radiate. So, and the opposite, when somebody is not doing well, and since we spend most of our time at work, we better enjoy what we do. But if we don't, we're gonna get out. We should not be in cross motivation where heart and mind are not together. Because if we're staying in that state for too long, diseases come. Get out of that state. Or invite your heart and mind and say, let's solve this. We've got to be united. So what we found is that when we place a leader to an organization or a person, to do a specific role or accomplish a specific mission, the ones who thrive in their workplace are the ones often that work for leaders who care. So what I mean by this, leaders who care, these are leaders who care beyond their personal self-interest. They will impact positively community, they will impact the business, they have a vision. So we've made a decision that we'll work with leaders who care because we want to see more people thriving in their workplace, not surviving. And that is where it came from. So when you place a CEO in Germany, for example, that is responsible for 1,000 or 20,000 people, for example, that's 20,000 families that are directly impacted by one single leader. So it's very important. The average size of 4, this is more than 80,000 people directly related to this. So for us, it's very important of who we work with. And that's why we decided to create Leaders Who Care and share those stories, not just to work with leaders who care, but also to inspire more people to follow their example, because they all will be always people that will maybe not be interested in that. But care is not a weakness. Care can bring prosperity, can bring joy, can bring a lot more financial resources and abundance than what you think. So you can have it all. And that's why we decided to create a platform where we share the stories of some of the most caring leaders from every corner of the world, so we can bring them together and hopefully multiply and amplify that.
That's amazing. That's really powerful. And it's important because, I mean, good leaders also bring up good people. And also it means that community being empowered, society being empowered, and then we can actually change the environment, government, anything else through the caring, that comes from leaders. I think it's very, very key. And there are some authors out there, and I also have another business where we talk a lot about leadership. We are living now a massive leadership gap in society. There's a lot of changes now, and we desperately need good leaders and powerful in a way that they care and they bring people up ahead first, not them, but first.
Absolutely.
Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, Annie. And look, you know what is really rewarding? We've made, of course, decisions to work with leaders who care when Dynamis was established 3 years ago. But we also felt that we could positively impact leaders that are in transition, that they want to make a difference, but they may not know exactly how. They may not really understand certain way of what does care means and how I can implement it in a business context. And this is amazing when you see a leader transform. That's one of the most impactful to see. And I tell you, even if you're being really very harsh or very self-centered, you can change.
Yeah.
Only if you want to, though, because we're not here to change people. We can only change ourselves. That's exactly the reality. But our example, our success and prosperity can inspire others, and that's what is powerful. Because if people want to do it, they can do it at any age of their life. And you know what? The reward is fantastic. I see that at the highest level. I see that in terms of their well-being, in terms of their state, all of their really. And you know what? If you've been so harsh, so self-centered, and you change, you create more loyalty of the people. People will say, "What is happening? Wow, that's even more powerful."
Yes.
Because then you kind of people see your growth. So my message to people is, you can change any state of any stage of your life, and it make a positive impact, and it's very rewarding. Try it.
Yeah, I think this is a very key message for our community, for those people who are watching us right now, and to believe that their choices today will impact tomorrow, their future. So the future doesn't start tomorrow; it starts with the choices they make today, positive choices and positive changes. And I think that is one of the reasons that you started the Leaders Academy also, right? Looking at a younger generation and how you could inspire them to make better choices, better informed decisions, and then change gradually and achieve something better with their lives, correct?
Absolutely. Ultimately, the vision and the goal is that to take the best practices, the journeys, the insights, like what you do, Annie, and it's a great, really honor the work you do here for the community. Capture that and share it with the future generation. That's how you build wealth for generations, really, because one of the biggest challenges we have is like, what do we leave behind? How can we upbring the future generation, the Gen Z, the young people? And thankfully, Generation Z is so aware and sensitive to those inconsistency of character. So my message to people is, get consistent, really work out on the areas that you don't like, or people, or you suffer, because often that's coming from you, and you can really make a profound difference. So for me, that is essential, to connect the most powerful and really successful leaders and learn from their know-how and insights, and share that with the future leaders who are upcoming, and pave the way.
We are. I'm leaving a big subject for the final, but now I just want to ask you a few things about the Leaders Academy, because I've got two young adults. I mean, like, I call children, but I mean the young adults, and one of them works with me, and then the other one is being, as you know, training to be an MMA fighter and already not, fighting. And for me, I have a massive concern for this generation. They're coming, as you mentioned, because they are taking on, they're gonna soon, let's say, move ahead of us, become the leaders of tomorrow companies, and they're already doing stuff. And what is next for the Leaders Academy, and where do you want to take it now? Are you still running it? Are you going to run more? What are you going to do with that?
Well, fantastic question. Leader Academy this year has launched the Talent Factory Digital, which we basically created because Leader Academy is not just advising young people, we develop young people. So what the vision is, we would like to help young people go through an express course because the biggest challenge for young people is they don't know exactly what they want. They want to climb a mountain, but they don't know which one exactly. They live in the best time ever. That's the most encouraging thing. Even despite the uncertainty and the wars, we have opportunities that are beyond imagination if you think of 34 years ago. So now young people have this tremendous opportunity, but at the same time they have so much clutter and so much information, so they don't know which one is for them and how. So my advice, of course, for them is to go through that process of understanding who they are. And we normally, what we do in Leader Academy, we take them through understanding, first of all, their strengths. What am I good at today? To understand what people think of them, the social mirror, the awareness, because that's your personal brand. Mm-hmm. Take the passion test. What sets your heart on fire? So for me, I'll say, find out what your strengths are. Ask people around you if you don't know. What sets your heart on fire? Go deep down. And then look at where you are today based on the feedback you get and where you want to get. And that will define your path. But also try out. We create this environment where they can taste a lot of things and they can try different internships or different really areas. And you live in the best time to learn from YouTube or videos of fun, and also learn from the best. Whatever you want to try out, go and see who's made it, to see what you like and see how they roll, because you want to make sure that. But if you know your strengths, if you know your passions, and if you know your values you're not willing to cross, that's a good start. That to find a purpose-driven career or establish mission-driven companies. So I'm not so worried about young people. I'm very hopeful and encouraged. I actually see them as a prosperous future, but of course they will have to go through their journey, and they'll make a lot of mistakes, of course, but they have the information to learn. But my advice to them is be careful who you learn from, and look at all of their areas, not just one. Don't just look at the money. Look at spiritual, mental, physical, financial, and relationships. When you see those 5 things in place, these are great examples.
Excellent. Let's move to a topic that I think is very close to your heart, which
just
is
to finish on before you move to a final. Leader Academy is impacting more than 3,000 people today.
Wow.
We have already a vision and the quest to scale it beyond where Bulgaria was born, to UK, Germany, France, and all of Africa, US, and China. So we've been working actively to stabilize that model. So
that's amazing.
Targeting the top 1%, basically, with most awake people. These are the future leaders that will lead the way. So we are very active, and we're looking at even talking directly.
Okay, so you have something that you said, Talent Factory. There's something digital.
Talent Factory Digital is the format that we're having, and getting young people to go through in a 1-week express course that they actually could go through those things that I mentioned, strengths, passions, really, and get much more aware of what they are, and they learn from each other as well. So that ultimately leads to more internships or help them set up an organizational company that is purpose-driven. So we help young people to find a purpose-driven career or establish mission-driven companies.
That is amazing. I would like to ask you before, offline, you send us the link or something. We can help to promote that. Yeah, so that's great. So let's talk about neurodiversity at work, which is something you're investing now. And I want to know a little bit more about the background and why, and what are you expecting to, how you expecting that to impact people's lives?
Well, because as we talked about so many things, and don't want to confuse the audience here, but why neurodiversity at work? What is important? Well, first of all, it's because of my great friend Theo Smith. He's actually an advocate, and to me one of the best in the world in what he does, and truly passionate about making a difference to positive difference to people's life that are neurodiverse at their workplace. Since more than 20% of world population is neurodiverse, that's we're talking over a billion people. That means either they have HDND, or they have a dyslexia, or they have autism, or they have dyspraxia. They have some formal condition where I call them highly gifted in one area but under gifted in another. So and sometimes often people don't, or the system does not understand them. They put them in a box, in a frame, and that leads to a lot of frustration and difficulties. We could change that. We've got the data, the technology that can positively impact people's lives today. And why at work? Because it starts from business. Business can implement that today. Governments are much slower to act, and hopefully they will follow and that. But business leaders, they can impact that. They can. So with minor adjustments, you can help someone's life immediately. If you are aware that they have a neurodiverse child, they may not be neurodiverse themselves, but they may have neurodiverse child. Well, the children may not be understood in school, the system. It's so being aware of that and helping people with their headsets or the way they receive information. Just minor adjustments could make a profound difference to people's lives. And Theo has also, through his own journey, has inspired me so much. And of course, I'm here just to support him and to take that to really a level where it deserves and should be, and help companies at the highest level and CEOs to be aware and to make changes today that can positively impact people that are neurodiverse, or they have neurodiverse family member, by recognizing and making minor adjustments that could really, and that could lead to better productivity, better way of living. Everything could be significantly improved by doing this through technology and consultancy is what we are aiming to do.
Well, that is really incredible. And I can see you putting a lot of effort, time, money, where your vision is, which is caring, right? So this is part of caring. If you talking about 20% is not a small number. If you scale that up, the whole world, that is a lot of people that, and indirect people also that are actually affected by that those are only the direct people suffer from it. But if you think about those indirect people who are in relationship with them, but they're also part of their network, then it's much bigger.
Almost half of the world is kind of, if not, we're all kind of impacted by this in some shape or form. But
so it's amazing what you're doing, Marian. It's been great talking to you. Thank you for your time. Starting the week with you has been really energizing for me. Just like hopefully this week's gonna be amazing once again, and then even more now. I would love to talk to Theo. I'm sure we're gonna connect with him and then bring him on the show also, because I think it's important for our community to really learn and be exposed to that, because they might be suffering from it and they don't know. They might be going through it and they don't know that it's something that is happening and something that they can do about it. But also being blessed knowing that that people, they're caring, really caring, and we can be passionate about our visions, passionate about our lives, and understanding that if we keep focusing on that, we will achieve what we want to achieve. So I just want to leave you now. If you say something, would like to say final words for our community and anything, please, the mic is open to you now.
Thank you so much. First of all, it's an honor, Andy, and I hope it was helpful for you, for the community here. You're right. Everything we do, we look at through the lens of care and our values. So does it add value to people's lives? How can it improve, and how it's done is important. My message to final words to the community and the audience: follow your passion and learn from the best that you can. Look in the field and look at all of their 5 areas of their lives. Look at their fruits before you take advice from people, because a lot of people will offer you advice, but Be careful who you're taking the advice from. And we live in a great time, guys. And remember, when a crisis come or a difficult moment come, that's your best moment to rise. Do not forget that. It's painful, but this is the moment. And do not give up. There's a lot of hope on the other side, a lot of great things on the other side. So stay there and go through whatever you need to go through. It will make you stronger. And above all, take care of all areas of your life: spiritual, mental, physical, financial, and relationship.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Marian. Guys, thank you so much for being with us once again. Momentum Resilient Life. We're here for you. The whole team is here for you. Please click subscribe, like, comment, share with other people. Let's help us to grow this community of care also and resilience. Okay, thank you very much, Marian. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.